Test, test, 1, 2. 1, 2, test. Testing, 1, 2.
Yeah, that's got it. Yeah, got it.
So there's nothing saying about it.
You want us to move from here as well? You want us to change it here? No, just go in the right change rooms.
Sorry, Brian. Thank you. No problem, mate. What? Actually? Can we move the bottle of this up?
Lucas, where are you going?
We end up getting match balls.
Where's the match balls?
Well, the second half of the season is upon us in NPL New South Wales, and it brings with it to Popondetta Park a big six-pointer at the foot of the table. It's 15th place, Mount Druitt Town, hosting the visiting Western Sydney Wanderers sitting in 14th, a game that both want to win as they look to pull away from the automatic relegation place of 16th. But it's also a match that neither want to lose. The winner tonight will leave their opponent in their wake, sitting in that promotion relegation playoff spot, which both sides will be desperate to avoid as we have kickoff on the synthetic at Popondetta Park. Mount Druitt, of course, returning to the top flight this season, all too aware of the dangers that that promotion relegation playoff spot can pose. It is the home side who are trying to get off to a quick start here. It's a good save early doors by Tristan Vidakovic to deny the advancing Thomas Lopez. So an early corner for Mount Druitt Town. There was nothing to split these two sides when they met on the opening round of the season, a 1-1 draw at Wanderers Football Park. As Pedrinho swings it in nicely, it's allowed to bounce in the middle, and the Wanderers eventually able to clear. Barry. Oh, clever little flick by Abdul Rahman in there. Away the Wanderers through Peacock, but his pass not his best. As we mentioned, not much to split these two sides when they met in round one. Although it is the Wanderers who probably carry the slightly stronger form into this fixture. Richie Cardozo's men looking to go 3 games without defeat for the first time this season, having backed up a 3-0 win away to St George a fortnight ago with a point at Wanderers Football Park last week against the Mariners. Points that have proved very tricky to come by for the Town Rangers of late. Searching for a first victory since the 30th of March. And it's been difficult to come anywhere, but even harder here at home. They're looking to bring the winning feeling back to Popondetta Park. They haven't taken all 3 points at their home venue since they were champions of League One, the final day of the season last year against Dunbar Rovers 273 days ago. If they're going to pull away from the bottom of the table, that needs to change tonight. As Joey Gibbs can't pick out a teammate, so that takes the sting out of it for Tristan Vidakovic. Pleasure to have your company here at Popondetta Park this evening. Lockie Flanagan with you in the commentary box overlooking the synthetic second pitch. course, the recent deluge of rain meant that kickoff was delayed tonight and the game moved to the Syntho to protect the pristine grass pitch on the opposite side as Awan Lawal is given one to chase and does well. Haddad, fast feed. Edmund Haddad, big deflection, overhead attempt by Peacock and out of play. That would have been quite the way to open your NPL New South Wales account for a man in Noah Peacock who, well, I say man, he's still a very, very young attacking player. But despite promising performances in recent weeks, is still awaiting his first senior NPL goal, having taken out the under-20s Golden Boot with NWS Spirit last year. He's got a new, well, not new necessarily, but certainly compared to last week's strike partner tonight. 2 changes for the Wanderers, one of which Awan Lawal is restored to the starting lineup. So we're going to get those 2 bigger-bodied forwards start together for the first time this season, which is as exciting as it is intriguing. Nathan Barry returning from suspension and straight into the heart of this Wanderers defence tonight. And it is very similar on the opposite end for Andy Montgomery. 2 changes as well, and defensive reinforcements. Tef is in for just an 8th appearance of season 2025. Back for the first time since round 12. He is injected into the starting 11 alongside a young man who gets his first ever league start for the Town Rangers. Lachlan Vasiliou, who's played only 63 minutes in the league all season, gets the nod tonight further afield ahead of John Azar. Alex Trajanowski, the other who drops to the bench tonight. Ricky Franson. A hopeful flick from Lawal. Fine support. Abdul Rahman couldn't return the favour. And all legal in the eyes of tonight's referee, Adrian Arndt. And in the opposite direction comes Nathan Barry. 2 sides locked on 9 points apiece. In 15th and 14th respectively. Really not sure exactly what we're going to get this evening. 2 sides who, well, they found points hard to come by. The back of the net tricky too. 2 of the lowest scoring sides, but they both concede with regularity. So I don't know what you're going to get this evening, but I wager one way or another it'll be entertaining. Both these teams looking to turn a new leaf in this season's second stanza as Hollingdale is nearly robbed of it by Lopez. Nkomo scored a cracking goal in round 1 against Mount Druitt. 2 for the season now after finding the net in that big 3-0 win against St George as Haddad earns an early foul. The Wanderers rewarded with a free kick for plenty of early zip here at Popondetta Park. There it is. Fantastic conditions for football, it must be said. Not one iota of wind in the air. Cool 15 degrees, great for the players. What can Haddad produce from this free kick? It's well shaped as well, cleared to the edge of the box, struck first time, really sweetly too, by Julian Kopp. And deflected out by Tef for a Mount Druitt corner. Or rather, a Mount Druitt corner to defend.
Tommy, just be aware on the second action here, right? When you miss this one or if it goes beyond you, pick up the second.
of movement in the box here for the Wanderers as they try a bit of a different routine. It's a cavalcade of players on the goal line, and rising was Lual attempting to head it back towards goal. So that one not really working out as intended. This is a good start from the Wanderers, who, as difficult of a season as they have had at points, hope is starting to spring anew in the last couple of weeks. 2 point collecting results on the bounce, and while a draw against bottom place Central Coast Mariners is not the best, 3-0 win against St George after the torrid weeks they'd had leading up were very impressive. Pedrinho can't work it forward to Sampao. Big night for the Mount Druitt number 10, and it's his opposite number who is taking a lot of the defensive attention so far, Edmund Haddad. Andy Montgomery's men in real need of a spark. 55 days since their last win, just 1 point picked up since then as Haddad curls it in invitingly, but no Wanderers head able to find it, and it's an easy collection, an uncontested collection for Dylan Niski. Launches it in the Lopez direction, but to no avail. And Cameron will distribute to Nkomo on the opposite side. Great to see Jesse Cameron back out there after a lengthy injury layoff. Missed 6 weeks after an injury against Apia. Didn't return until round 13. Back into the starting side, having started the year wearing the captain's armband. Nkomo up top to Lual, who's working hard with back to goal and is rewarded for his industry with another one of these nippy free kicks. The Wanderers have been able to win 30 yards from the Mount Druitt penalty area. So Haddad has come across to the left-hand side. This delivery not quite as convincing as his previous few, but the Wanderers retain the ball. It was a hot football, and Abdul Rahman wasn't able to control. Knocked away in the end by Massarola. And the Wanderers line up a long throw. It was a really good one too. Franson and Barry were both there. Barry with the snapshot. Straight into the arms of Dylan Niski. And perhaps a chance for Mount Druitt to get things moving. Pedrinho robbed of it. Good press by the Wanderers. And another free kick collected. Much to the chagrin of...
I know where do you want to go, but he's still got him late. That's what Carl said. He's got him late. I understand. It's from where we are. From where we are, looks easy, but it's a foul. That's a foul. Yeah.
Just listening in to the discussion there between fourth official Josh Kermond and the Mount Druitt bench. Probably the explanation you need with the effect mic placement this evening. I'm sure you'll get a lot less savoury conversations than that one too over the course of the evening. As it happens again, in the exact same spot, in the exact same way, it is a deja vu filled opening 13 minutes here at Popondetta Park. And Edmund Haddad once again on Free kick duties for the boys in red and black. Haddad is going to go for it this time. And again, Niski able to watch it all the way into his gloves, but the pressure slowly mounting on the goal of Dylan Niski. Good turn by Vasiliou. And forward to Gibbs. Over the ball by Franson. No whistle that time, and too much heat on that one for the Tall Timber in this Wanderers strike partnership to chase. Lopez up and able to keep it in play, but not much more than that. It's another for the strike partnership to chase. For a while, just missed it in flight. Sampao. Well won by Franson. It's a crucial challenge here by Rankin, who eventually by hook or by crook is able to repel the Wanderers. Nathan Barry across to Ricky Franson. Certainly the preferred central defensive partnership of Richie Cardozo. The problem has been getting his preferred defenders to play together this season, owing to a combination of injury, but more often than not incident. It's been very hard. They've been red card magnets this season, the Wanderers. 5 red cards halfway through season 2025. 4 of them coming in 3 games last month. No whistle that time. Play allowed to continue. Abdul Rahman couldn't pick up the pieces. And Gibbs shifts across to Jackson Brown. He's one of a number of players who are in their first season in Mount Druitt colours this year, having come across from Hills. Hasn't quite been the season that Andy Montgomery would have hoped. Well, hasn't quite, I think would be underselling it somewhat. They're expecting newly promoted teams to compete from the off, but they did make some very high quality acquisitions, the likes of Pedrinho and Joey Gibbs. Difficulty has been getting them all on the park with the injuries that they've had. But Jackson Brown has been a solid one. As of tonight, now made as many starts this season as he did all of last year for Hills. As the incident-fueled first half shows no signs of slowing. And Adrian Arndt is having to settle the troops down here a little bit. So no cards have been shown to any players in the yellow and green of Mount Druitt. Despite all of these niggly fouls going in left, right and centre. Hollingdale's right footer. Tantalising. Cop. Big swing. No ding, and the offside flag coming up against the Wanderers in any case. There's been a lot of goalmouth chances to speak of in the opening 15 minutes, but plenty of energy, plenty of zip, plenty of feeling, and that's at least a good sign that there could be more on the way potentially. And Como, up and under. Stabbing at it was Rankin. Barry bought time. Jackson Brown will watch that one trickle over the touchline and distribute to Will Rankin. Got to specify in the Rankin stakes this evening, of course. Jude Rankin on the bench as well. Niski. Vasiliou lost the aerial ball. Haddad can get his fast feet moving again. Cameron to Kopp. Curling ball was inviting. Well judged by Niski. He has been a busy boy this season. Both of these keepers tonight have. 66 saves going into tonight. He's already added to that tally this evening, has Dylan Niski. Puts him second in NPL New South Wales this season. His opposite number tonight, Tristan Vedakovic. Not far behind at all. 63 for the season. Druitt will certainly be hoping as they walk back to defend, having conceded yet another foul in their own half. To test Tristan Vedakovic a little bit more this evening. As Hollingdale comes forward, angles a ball in, which is knocked away comfortably by Tef. Kopp. Hollingdale. Clever touch. Marshalled over the line eventually, though, by lucky Vasiliou. Who's got a familiar face on his flank this evening. Jesse Cameron. Used to go to school together on opposite sides tonight, but both graduates of Hills Sports High School. They used to be teammates. It is the long throw from Cameron, headed towards goal. Niski with ease again. Back to that earlier point about Druitt hoping to test Tristan Vedakovic. Key to this difficult run of form they find themselves in has been a barren run in front of goals. Sitting at 352 minutes in the league since the last time they found the back of the net through a man who sits on the bench this evening, and John Azar against the Wollongong Wolves in April. Gibbs helps it on its way. Lopez forward, but not before the ball had trickled out of play. They're going to change those attacking woes. You fancy that Joey Gibbs is someone who really needs to fire. Oh, that's so good from Pedrinho. He's just got those moments in him when you least expect them. And now, for the first time, Mount Druitt in this game were really released, but able to do nothing with it. But again, Joey Gibbs finding his form in front of goals. Only one goal this season, and it was all the way back in round one against the Wanderers. Pedrinho showing the quality we know he has in his locker more consistently. That's going to be key for a route to avoiding Pro Rel playoff, or worse still, automatic relegation. As things stand, a lot of football still to be played, but it's a very real prospect, those scenarios, for both of these sides. Which is why this is already a 6-pointer. Kopp to the byline, right-footed cross, decent. And the defensive touch takes the sting out of it. Massarola rides the challenge. It's just looking a little bit isolated. This Mount Druitt front line, the distance between defence and midfield, and then attack. There's a long one. Middle two-thirds are working pretty well together, but it's getting into that front phase, which is proving the sticking point. Perhaps this is a chance to change things. Pedrinho. carries into this game a impressive record against the A-League Academy side so far. Of course, first season in NPL New South Wales. Only 2 games against Sydney and the Mariners respectively, but has scored cracking goals against both of them, including one on the other field at Popondetta Park, the one against the Mariners. By far his best. And that's saying something about how good it was, considering all of them have been from outside the box. And Mount Druitt gain a bit of territory here. Is this a chance for them to... Give the Wanderers' defence something to think about. They haven't really been able to do that since the first minute, where they weren't a million miles away from scoring.
I understand. I can't put myself in your shoes, but
31-year-old Brazilian
if you guys have any opportunity to go
looking to make something happen with his right foot. As it stood towards the back post in the Tef direction. Double punch from Vidakovic. Cross is fired in and turned around for a corner by Nkomo. Jackson Brown won the corner. Curled in by Pedrinho, away by Franson. The header was missed, and it's a half-hearted attempt. Tef didn't hesitate. And the defender has scored once already this season against Blacktown at home. Did not think twice about the invitation to try and double his money for the season. Haddad. Delicate ball to Abdul Rahman. One of the young players who got to break into the A-League setup this season. And what was a fantastic campaign for the Wanderers in the A-League men. Made his debut at the start of the year against MacArthur. One of 6 players out there this evening for the Wanderers who have had that chance to perform with the A-League squad, as Haddad's ball into the first man in the Mount Druitt penalty area, and away marches Jackson Brown. So if you didn't hear the conversation through the effects mic a few minutes ago between Josh Kerb and Andy Montgomery, he said, oh, look, if I just scream, it'll be a free kick, right? I think maybe making the point about the amount of noise that was coming from the Wanderers bench on every potential free kick. So with the first sniff of a foul, you hear what Andy Montgomery's response was. Como will be first to this one, and it's firm back to Vidakovic. Druitt, until the last moment, not showing much interest in the way of pressing it. Como. Tricky one for Barry because Lopez is on his shoulder but manages to find an angle through which to clear. Some clever passes here. The Wanderers could have been out. And so the pattern continues. No sooner do Mount Druitt regain possession, do they give away a foul that restores the football back to their opponents. Cameron was clipped, but all above board, according to Adrian Arndt. Hollingdale. Wanderers bench wanted the switch. They didn't get it. Cop. Cameron. Lawal and Svilagoy come together. And Adrian Arndt had no issues with that. Niski. Continuing to play it long, Mount Druitt, but they're not having a lot of joy in the air in the face of what is a vertically imposing defensive line for the Wanderers. Ricky Franson towering at 195 centimetres. Nathan Barry, well, he may be made to look small by comparison to his central defensive partner, but not small by any stretch. Another long throw from Cameron. Lawal the target. Well won by Gibbs. In went Jackson Brown, and Rankin can just lift it in hope. Franson continues to gobble up the aerial offerings. Some choice words in his native tongue from Pedrinho, and I think Richie Cardozo could understand what he was saying, even if perhaps the referees could not. Peacock gets up, hits the deck, and the whistle never arrives. Haddad sort of just lumped it in the end under pressure. Good turn from Jackson Brown, but lost the ball momentarily. Gibbs, this is better. Lopez cantering forward. All of a sudden the space opens up for Mount Druitt. The Wanderers did well to close their ranks quickly. Pedrinho.
Here we go! Action!
Vasiliou. Low ball to the top of the box. That's at least better from Mount Druitt, showing how quickly they could potentially turn this defending into attack. Big up and under into the night sky from Ricky Franson. Pedrinho couldn't quite get it through the legs of Lawal. And now it might be the Wanderers who could take advantage of the space. And Como's early ball, a crucial touch from a yellow shirt. Hollingdale for Cameron. He's been rewarding down this right-hand side. Haddad, hot football, and oh, that's ugly, but it's out by the young Mount Druitt defender, Shaden Sampau. He's getting a fourth consecutive start, the 21-year-old tonight, which is great to see. There's been some young players. Andy Montgomery's been forced to hand increased responsibility to in the wake of some of the injuries they've been hit with.
Hey, who's got the big boy up top?
No defending for him to do, though. It's a good corner. Lawal plucks it out of the night sky. A few questions of a handball. The cutback's on. Haddad cleared off the line. Still alive for the Wanderers and blazed away by Hollingdale. That is by far the closest Western Sydney have come to the deadlock breaker. And as good work as it was from the Wanderers, the defending in the lead-up was a little lax from a Mount Druitt defence that have shipped the equal most goals in this competition this season, 36. And only the goal line heroics. I believe Thomas Lopez, or rather, Rankin, able to save them on this occasion. Gibbs to the deck, and the first card of the afternoon, or evening rather, does eventually arrive. And there's a certain irony to the fact that after all the fouls that Mount Druitt have conceded tonight, it is a Wanderers player who is first into the book. Jesse Cameron bringing down a former Wanderer, albeit at senior level in Joey Gibbs. Mountains of experience they've got up top. With him there, Pedrinho, not a lot of whip. Shallow clearance. Goes to the top of the box. There's a leg, and this could be danger. It was Massarola fouled. And all of a sudden, Mount Druitt have got themselves a free kick in Pedrinho territory. And it's no surprise that the man who was still watching his own work, having delivered the free kick that led to that foul, marched straight over to get to the hot spot. Joey Gibbs is nearby as well, just giving the Brazilians some food for thought.
No, I heard it. I'm just saying he just needs to have a chat just so he doesn't do it anymore. He can
337 minutes.
Talk to the referee, it's fine. But once you start swearing,
Mount Druitt without a goal. Is this moment of quality the time it could change? It's going to be Joey Gibbs. It's into the arms of Tristan Vidakovic. So it wasn't the Brazilian in the end. And it wasn't able to get the better of Tristan Vidakovic either. Hollingdale did well to find a teammate. He was under all sorts of pressure. Pressure that eventually paid from Mount Druitt. Svilagoy. Let's go some way to maybe contextualizing some of the struggles Mount Druitt have had this season. Just how many players are like Zach Svilagoy calling Popondetta Park home for the first time this season. Going over the squad list for this evening, and at my count there's no less than 12 players who are in their first senior season with the Town Rangers, either being signed, returning, or of course coming through the youth ranks. We've got so many players who are new to a club, new to a coach, new to a system, new to their teammates. It can take a while for it to click. Jackson Brown finds a way to get it back to Gibbs. The high ball. Vasiliou goes to the floor and is urged to get up by Adrian Art. Fast feet by Haddad. He's always so good with that. We haven't seen any of Edmund Haddad this season. He's a player worth watching. He's the 19-year-old. Clever dribbler. A fun play to watch. Abdul Rahman wide to Nkomo, who looks to return the favour. Abdul Rahman pokes it inside. And while Peacock and Lual were in the area, neither of them were found with the attempted stab cutback. And those of you watching on, certainly those on the Wanderers bench, have to wonder whether or not the trigger should have been pulled by the man who tried to turn provider. One of a number of nearly moments in this game. Abdul Rahman. Barry. Tricky turn. Coming in hot was Thomas Lopez. Franson. Gallivanting forward was Barry. Had Dad's first touch. Freed himself of momentary danger, but felled in the end by Svilagoy. It has been an intriguing game so far, but certainly can't question the commitment of both of these teams to this contest. They're both clearly trying to leave it all out there, but it is resulting in a lot of stop-start, set-piece, we go again situations. As this free kick is launched and tipped over by Niski. That's the first real time that they've gone direct the Wanderers, and it was Noah Peacock who really got behind that. And Dylan Niski able to tip it over. It was in a savable area for the keeper, but had some real venom behind it. Haddad's corner, Teff clears. Pedrinho can only find the red shirt of Richard Nkomo, who resets. Dare I say, a game that both, as discussed in the lead-up, want to win to pull away from 16th. There could be trouble here, though, as it's forward to Vasiliou. Oh! At long last, the goal drought is over for Mount Druitt. What a way to break it. A quality goal and a dream starting debut for Lachlan Vasiliou. A careless moment from the Wanderers, punished brilliantly by the Mount Druitt youngster. And after 370 minutes of NPL football, Mount Druitt finally have a goal to their name again, and what a goal it was from Vasiliou. The Wanderers will not be able to believe it. But in a game where Mount Druitt have struggled for quality, it's one of their young guns, in his first start, who is able to find it. And a moment of quality though it was, it came gift wrapped. From the Wanderers' defence. And now on the far side, it's got a little bit ugly. Adrian Arndt with a bit of sorting out to do. I think Pedrinho may be engaging in a bit of a war of words with Richard and Cormor. And he has been pretty willing with his words. And it's cost him in the end.
Play to right midfield. Tell Caleb to come central.
That is not what Mount Druitt needed at all. They've just taken the lead and the game has been turned on its head. Pedrinho receives his marching orders. Well, this game has exploded out of nowhere. A goal to the Mount Druitt Town Rangers, a red card to the Town Rangers. Vasilio on the scoreboard. Pedrinho off the field for remonstration, either with Nkomo, the referee, or a combination of both. And that is going to make for a very interesting second half. Druitt take their free kick short through Rankin. Massarola scoops it. Peacock loses out to Jackson Brown. Caleb Jackson Brown picks up a free kick. So if you were thinking that after 40 minutes played this game didn't have a lot of entertainment value for the neutral in it, well, you've been taught a very valuable lesson about faith and loyalty in the last couple of minutes, because the drama has been London bus-like. We spent a long time in this game waiting for a little bit of it, and all of a sudden two major incidents come at once. Vasilio's goal against the run, it must be said, quality though it was, to put Mount Druitt in front. Now they have to defend their lead with 10. Massarola. Able to nip in there. There's Lopez.
More central.
Andy Montgomery would be very happy if they could double their lead before the half-time interval. Looped over the top. Gibbs giving chase for Lawnley as we enter inside first half stoppage time. Abdul Rahman. Can the Wanderers find a levelling goal before the break? Stabbed out by Svilagoy.
Lucky, get back, it's going wrong, get back, he's going back.
Another one of the long throws will be coming through to close out the first 45. Launched forward by Cameron. Oh, that deflection, a hairy one. And Barry lets fly. And Ruckman flew in at a rate of knots to try and get anything on it. And in the end, all he could get was a piece of an opponent. And the good news for the Wanderers, still plenty of time as they look in the second half to turn around a 1-0 deficit. A game for 40 minutes had plenty of incident in the final 5, delivered a veritable slurry of action. Not the position we expected to be in at the halftime break, not the way we expected to be going in to the halftime break, certainly not for Richie Cardozo, but At halftime, it is 1-0 in favour of the Mount Druitt Town Rangers in this massive 6-pointer at the bottom of the table. It was the Wanderers who were the better of large portions of the first half and went close to opening the scoring a few times, only for a defensive error to be punished with aplomb for a first senior goal by Lachlan Vasilio. And before the celebrations had even died down for Mount Druitt, the game changed once again. They still lead 1-0, but they find themselves down to 10 after Pedrinho received his marching orders. And it leaves it all delicately poised going into the second 45. Don't go anywhere because this game feels like it's still got a few more twists and turns to take. But here at halftime, Mount Druitt on track for a return to the winners list. The halftime score, Mount Druitt 1, Western Sydney Wanderers 0.
Eddie, I'll get your keys in a minute. We're going back up over there. Yeah, that's what I mean.
45 minutes standing here at Popondetta Park between the Mount Druitt Town Rangers and a much wanted, much needed return to the winner's circle. 1-0 they lead as we head into the second half, but that does not tell the full story of what has happened and what may well be to come. Lachlan Vasiliou with his first senior goal on starting debut for Mount Druitt. A quality chip over the top of Tristan Vidakovic. Seemed as though it would have Mount Druitt sitting pretty heading into the break, and indeed it did on the scoreline, but with one added very important wrinkle, which is that the lead they have to defend, they will have to defend with 10, because minutes later, after taking that lead, the Town Rangers found themselves down to 10. Pedrinho sent off for remonstration with the referee and Richard Nkomo, and leaves the Town Rangers with work to do. And the Wanderers with 45 minutes to chase down a goal or more in this massive 6-pointer at the bottom end of the NPL New South Wales table. Thanks for your company if you're rejoining us for the second half or just joining us for the second half. Expect plenty of entertainment in this second 45. The Wanderers yet to go 3 games without defeat this season. Only a draw or a win tonight could change that. And this would be massive for Mount Druitt if they can hold on or add to their tally. It hasn't just been 55 days without a win, 273 days without a win at Popondetta Park. But the Wanderers looking to get on the comeback trail early. Abdul Rahman marching forward, cutting it towards Nkomo. Crucial challenge in the Mount Druitt defence. And it may have come at some personal cost to Jared Massarola, who's thankfully being helped to his feet, having conceded a Wanderers corner. The good news for Mount Druitt is they lead. The bad news is they've not been very good at holding on to those this season, as Hollingdale's cross is a poor one, never really caught it. Only 2 clean sheets kept this season. One of them a fortnight ago here at Popondetta Park in a 0-0 draw with the Sutherland Sharks, which was their first clean sheet since March. So it will have to be performance that will test their character, their resolve. The Wanderers, though, only 13 goals to their name this season. They found that attacking gear a little bit better in the last couple of weeks. 5 goals across the last fortnight of games. 38% of their tally for the season. They have gone close in this game already. Will Rankin is the man who cleared the ball off the goal line to deny them what would have been at that time the opener, as Lopez had a great touch, and Vasiliou will show the quality that he's capable of in the first half for the opening goal. Couldn't get it done that time. Haddad brought to ground. Another free kick for the Wanderers. And the foul count will be one to watch if you're sitting at home, because other than the final 5 minutes where this game exploded, the first 40 minutes were pockmarked by these regular minor fouls as Gibbs continues to give chase, given away by Mount Druitt in favour of the Wanderers.
Drop, Lockie!
And while defending with 10 is never easy, you do wonder if potentially it could be, Mount Druitt could be a team suited to doing it. They do like to attack in transition, work with counter-attacks, and you would imagine that the game state, Wanderers throwing numbers forward, having lots of the possession might give them the chance to do that. That's all the way back to Dylan Niski. Finally back to Vidakovic. Only 2 teams this season have found the net less than Western Sydney Wanderers. And one of them was Mount Druitt going into this game, and they've now levelled their tally. This is good play, though. Peacock couldn't connect at the top of the penalty area. Hollingdale. Yellow shirts converge left and right and regain possession for the Town Rangers. Great work by Massarola. Gibbs, great control. Vasiliou, can he find a shooting angle? He can! Wonderfully tipped over by Tristan Vidakovic. Lucky Vasiliou has not had too many moments to show his quality this evening, but when he has shown it in abundance. He only played 63 minutes of first-grade football this season, going into tonight's game where he was handed a first start by Andy Montgomery, and I dare say the Mount Druitt manager will be feeling very vindicated in his decision tonight, because his team's 2 best chances that include the opening goal have come from the newly minted starting youngster. In comes the corner, firmly struck. Svilagoy was there. Kopp. Rankin with an up and under. Nathan Barry. Not his natural inclination to get forward and attack, and Will Rankin up to the physical task against Abdul Rahman. Gibbs got a few strands of hair to the ball, but nothing more. It's also a fascinating watch, this, for the Wanderers, to see how they respond. Some teams don't enjoy playing against 10 because of how deep the numbers are behind the ball and the task that it is to try and break them down. But I think the reason why it's so interesting for the Wanderers is because it's a position that this season they have had to be so accustomed to being in themselves, having to defend with 10 men. And in some cases, or indeed one case a couple of weeks ago against Blacktown, defending with 9. The most red cards of any team in NPL New South Wales this season. A reminder, in case you needed it, the stakes in this game. Both these sides entered into tonight on 9 points. The winner will leave the other in the promotion relegation playoff spot. Abdul Rahman driving across the box. And it didn't take long for the Wanderers to find their response. Awan Lual strokes it home after the quality work was done by Abdul Rahman on the left. they knew they had work to do in this second 45, the Wanderers, and they have gotten some of it done very, very quickly. And that is tough to take for Mount Druitt. It's a long time to defend a 1-0 advantage. A man down. And having already given up the ghost. Now this one becomes really, really fascinating. Action aplenty either side of the halftime interval. Vasiliu's goal to open the scoring. Pedrinho's red card that led us to the Wanderers levelling against the 10-man Mount Druitt through Awan Lawal as Hollingdale drops it back to Haddad, who gets his fast feet moving. Oh, that is fantastic. Edmund Haddad off the post. And was the final touch for Mount Druitt player? Ultimately, the answer is yes. Edmund Haddad again showing what he can do. Teenage attacker. He's come through 6 seasons now in the Wanderers Academy. Curls it in nicely. Tef repels. Haddad, is it second time's the charm? Flicked towards goal by Peacock, but it was up and under more than direct and towards. Only 9 appearances for the Wanderers Senior Academy squad last year. Edmund Haddad has eclipsed that mark tonight with a 10th appearance of the season. Well, he does only have a goal and an assist to his name. He always threatens. Thomas Lopez, the 20-year-old, is the man in some discomfort. It's a player who will be familiar to the playing and coaching staff of the Wanderers, having previously been part of that academy system for quite some time. He's bounced around a few clubs in Sydney's West. 25 appearances and 5 goals for Hills last season. Barry. Hollingdale continues to pull the strings. Cameron couldn't connect the 1-2 with Edmund Haddad. A big launch. From Nathan Barry. And it was a cheap concession the way the Wanderers did concede the opener for Lockie Vasiliu. By and large, beyond that, the Wanderers, who, let's not forget, have conceded pretty regularly this season, have barely given Mount Druitt much of a sniff. It's a successful starting debut coming to an end for Lockie Vasiliu, who, after 59 minutes tonight, nearly played as many minutes in this game as he has for the entire of the season previous. He's replaced by Garang Awak, who comes on as a substitute for the 14th time this season from 16 appearances. Barry. He and Franson have been really good, and I dare say, without having the numbers to back it up, there is definitely a correlation between their best football and those two playing well together. Abdul Rahman managed to absorb some pressure from left and right. Hollingdale not heeding the instruction of Richie Cardozo. Curious that Andy Montgomery's first change of the evening is an attacking one. You probably could have guessed that Vassiliou, having played such little football this season, would have been always likely to come off before the full-time whistle in his first start. But it's an attacking change for a team who will probably be, for the most part of this second half, trying to, well, defending their lead is out of the question. That's already passed them by, but being content to work with what they have. 1-1 draw doesn't do a great deal for either side. Keeps them both at each other's neck on 10 points apiece. Sampao floated into the penalty area. A whack. Couldn't give it a whack. And instead it's a Wanderers free kick. And they are, as you expect, taking plenty of the impetus in this second half, but either side of Awan Lual's equalising goal, which was his first in nearly 100 days. Hasn't found the back of the net since that 1-0 win against Sydney Olympic earlier this season. Here is Lual, hemmed into a corner, finds a brilliant back heel though. Hollingdale couldn't do the same. It's been a night of drought breaks so far, Mount Druitt. Their first goal in 370 minutes of football, and Awan Lual, first goal in 98 days. Wanderers are going to make a substitution shortly. Haddad, lovely feet. And couldn't prod it to Peacock, not quite on the same wavelength. I would wonder if perhaps one of those attackers is going to get replaced shortly, because Khan Nizam, who's been out since the 4th of May after he was red-carded against Blacktown City, he's getting ready to come on, and I believe it'll be for Noah Peacock. Cop. And Cornwall. It's called up to the Australian under-18s this week, Richie and Cornwall. Part of the UEFA Friendship Cup squad. Well, this Wanderers squad, compared to the one that last year was plucked, or chock full of players who were plucked to make the step up to the A-League level last year and led the league at points of last season. Not quite the same as that team. There is still plenty of Wanderers Academy talent, young guns who are making the grade at international level. 3 international squads announced this week. And 12 separate players across the Wally Roos, Joey's and under-18 squad that were called up. No foul given away by Lawal. Jackson Brown is on a one-man mission with only Joey Gibbs for support, and in the end loses out to the weight of numbers. Hollingdale on the march. Good release for Nkomo, who has momentarily open pasture to work with. And in by Lopez. This 5-3-1 shape. Mount Druitt was able to force a retreat. And again, Richie Cardozo still waiting to make this sub. Fizzing ball. Lawal couldn't make contact. And he's trying to make his case to the referees that the reason for that was that he was brought down. In any case, it's up and away by Niski. Gibbs has had to do a lot of tough dog work in the air against this towering Wanderers defensive unit. Peacock sets a task for the while and was brought to ground in the process of prodding it forwards. And that action is going to be his last. As on comes Khan Nazam, comes on to replace him, and it's just took a pause there to listen to the conversation between Thomas Lopez and Andy Montgomery. Checking in on the welfare, the fitness of his player. And he said 70th minute, check in on me again. So maybe seeing another Mount Druitt substitution in 4 minutes' time. That was good work by Gibbs. Lopez was deft. Gibbs is caught in a Wanderers sandwich. An illegal one at that. Nizam's first touch, a clean one. As the Wanderers look to change the locus of the attack. They did come from behind. It would definitely be 2 points dropped if they don't turn this one into a win. As the cross comes in, Nizam, double deflection, wide of goal. That was chaotic in the Mount Druitt penalty area. Nizam put boot to ball. It struck a Mount Druitt defender and then took an uncharitable touch off Awan Lawal, forced it out of play for the goal kick that Dylan Niski has just taken. Lopez collected from behind. And that time, Adrian Arndt does accept the appeals of the Mount Druitt bench. Sampao. Been on free kick duties since that red card for Pedrinho. That's a decent one, but always favouring the towering presence of Tristan Vidakovic. Good battling by Will Rankin. Gibbs returns the favour. And Rankin is wide without much to aim at. Gibbs comes across to create the supporting run, but they want him in the middle. They don't have someone in the middle without him. These are the problems you've got to work with when you've only got 10. Massarola, read well by Nkomo. They've been guilty of forcing the issue a little bit, and so Mount Druitt can rally. A whack. Lopez gets behind it. Oh, wasn't far away from finding Garang Awak at the back post. Those are positive signs for Mount Druitt. But maybe, just maybe, even with the odds against them, this game is not over. Rankin. Easy pickings for Lual. This is like a 4-on-3, and it's over to Nizam. This could be a big chance for the substitute to make his mark. He cuts it square for Haddad. Great save by Niski. And Como's early ball. Cop. Legged. In the eyes of the Wanderers bench, Adrian Arndt seeing it differently. And with 20 minutes to play, this game is kicking up a notch. Haddad. Barry. Busting his way forward. Barry shot deflected. And that took all the danger out of it for Dylan Niski. Tantalizingly poised contest, this one. Wanderers have only taken a point going into the game, but the situation, the circumstances as they are, it really will be 2 points dropped if they don't come away with all three. Sitting at each other's necks at the bottom end of the table. These are the games you need to win in a battle for your own survival. Abdul Rahman. Jinking left and right. Filagoy did his job.
Hey, share the box, Jesse Reed. Jess, share the box. Share the box. Share the box with Richie.
There's a Mount Druitt sub on the way. First order of business, though, this corner, away by Joey Gibbs. Cameron to Haddad. Fashions a bouncing ball. That is gobbled up by Niski. And Thomas Lopez, who did say before, check in on me again, coach, on the 70th minute mark. We're going to be into the 72nd minute mark, and his number is about to be called. John Azar will be his replacement.
No way!
Cop. They found some good space on the right flank here, have the Wanderers. Cameron, the deflection makes it easy for Tef. Gibbs monstered again, and Cormor. Khan Nazar. Wanderers throwing caution into the wind now, and Cormor, good ball, great goal! Edmund Haddad completes the turnaround. And against the 10 men, the Wanderers lead. And the go-ahead goal arrives through the man whose play has deserved it today. Edmund Haddad went close minutes ago. He makes no mistake this time. And the Wanderers, they up the ante, and it produced the desired results. And now, all of a sudden, it is looking like that run of days without victory, both in NPL New South Wales and in Popondetta, at Popondetta Park. Might stretch on for a few more, but you never say never in this competition. Johnny Azar has come on. Wack will look to make his presence felt, and he does exactly that! And the shot is off the post. In comes Jackson Brown. Gibbs is there. Utter chaos in the Mount Druitt penalty area. They have controlled pretty much everything in front of their goal this evening, Western Sydney Wanderers. And yet the two moments of weakness they have showed, Mount Druitt punished them once and were a lick of paint away from doing it twice. Total mix-up between central defender and goalkeeper. And like a thief in the night, Garang Awak strode through to rob the ball off both of them and could only glance his effort onto the goal frame. How fine the margins are in this game of football. And Cormor. A third would really kill it. Khan Nizam took a little touch. And even though they are fighting now, Mount Druitt, to salvage a result, if they were able to grab a point, it would be such a confidence lifter, even if it wouldn't end their winless run. Massarola, Gibbs up top, collected from behind, free kick, Mount Druitt. Because having coughed up the lead, if they can regain level ground, take a point out of this one, it really will feel like all three, and will give Andy Montgomery and his men some sort of platform to build off for the second half of the season. They will look to kill this game, the Wanderers, and Richie Cardozo will be hoping that they can do it sooner rather than later. This one, even though they lead it now, goal advantage, man advantage, still feeling a little uncomfortable somehow. Azar. One arm aloft. Right-footed ball, well curled as well. And an offside player in the yellow shirt of Mount Druitt spotted in the lead up to the free kick. Wanderers still with plenty of substitutes available. Should they need them. Lachlan Tilt available for defensive coverage. Nicholas Battalato, Oscar Morrison, and a familiar face, or name rather, for some of you who regular watchers of the Wanderers A-League side, which I imagine any person watching for the Wanderers tonight probably would be. Tristan Arate, also sitting on the bench. Of course, his father, senior assistant coach Noel Arate, works under Alan Stajic. It's a bit of a family affair in the Wanderers Academy because it's also the brother of Sienna, who plays in the NPL women's team. Hollingdale. Good release by Abdul Rahman. Kopp. Space opens up in a central area for Kopp. Lawal buys a yard, strikes truly. Tipped away by Dylan Niski. And but for his involvements this evening, the game in which Mount Druitt still but still find themselves could very much not be the case. Nizam, Abdul Rahman. Niski comes off his line and conspires to collect with Massarola, or rather Svilagoy. Here's Massarola. The bounce was kind to Franson. Kopp. To hot that time was Garang Awak. Love to mark his involvement off the bench with the first goal for Mount Druitt since the 13th of April last year, back when they were in League One. They are fighting in games like tonight to stay well clear of a potential return there, having made the fight back to the top flight last season. A big 10 minutes on the way at Popondetta Park. Great switch of play. The bounce favoured Sampao, who did enough. Good work by the youngster. So many different decisions at play in this final 10 for both coaches. Andy Montgomery's men have got to go for it. Of that there is no question, but for Richie Cardozo, how do you instruct your troops to manage this final 10? They want a third, that much is clear. They probably not need a third, but certainly kill this game and avoid nervy moments like these, like that earlier shot off the post from Garang Awak. At what point do you say, oh, we're just going to look to sit on this lead, sit back, do what Mount Druitt tried to do to us, and defend with numbers behind the ball? It's going to be a raft of Mount Druitt substitutions coming on shortly. Awak. He's actually been really good since coming on. Added some much needed support for Joey Gibbs. Well won by Cameron. Haddad, whose goal currently stands as the match winner. Redistributes to Nkomo, whose assist currently stands as the match-winning assist. Svilagoy. Kopp. Providing pressure from Joey Gibbs. Low percentage ball, but Barry made it work, and so too did the body positioning of Khan Nizam. Another pressure relieving free kick, as it is all change on the touchline. You see one Rankin replaced by another. Will and Jude change places. Shaden Sampao, his day comes to an end in place of the returning Joe White, whose 78-day absence from the Mount Druitt squad ends today. 23-year-old Englishman, former Bolton Wanderers junior. I'm sure Andy Montgomery will be very pleased to have him back out there, regardless of result tonight. As Nicholas Battolato is one of two players onto the field, alongside the man we mentioned earlier, Tristan Arate. Jackson Brown. Space has opened up out of nowhere for Mount Druitt. They can find a good cross. This could be danger, but it's not in the end. Nicholas Battolato away. Players hit the deck on the halfway line, and Adrian Arndt, after waiting to see if any advantage would accrue, does pull back for the earlier infringement. And I wonder if one of Nicholas Battolato's first points of business after full-time tonight will be to give his brother Alex a little call to congratulate him on a grand final berth. Victory club at which his older brother is currently on loan from the Wanderers. Coming back to upset Auckland FC across the ditch today. Set us up for a Melbourne Derby A-League Grand Final next week. And right now that will be the furthest thing from his mind as Hollingdale is helped back to his feet. And we hope he is all good after this, Riley Hollingdale, because he has had his troubles with injury, his absences. It's not exactly moving as freely as you would like, and he's pointing to the knee. I think he will be coming back on here, the Wanderers captain, and indeed he does. Just to the right of your picture, Svilagoy launches long. The sands of time starting to really work against Mount Druitt here, although Gibbs has done well. Joey Gibbs back to Awak. There's plenty to aim at. The cross is turned out for a Mount Druitt corner. Johnny Azar. And a crew of baying Mount Druitt juniors over his shoulder as he preps this corner. And they haven't been shy on committing numbers forward for a corner delivery that is a decent one. Svilagoy couldn't make first contact. Massarola, another corner. Can the Wanderers withstand this late stand from the home side? Azar's delivery headed towards goal and whistling just wide. Another scare survived for this Wanderers defence. Great delivery by John Azar, who'd marched all the way across to the opposite side to take back-to-back corners, and the extra effort did not weary him. Oh, Niski is playing with fire, but made it look very good in the end. Jude Rankin. Druitt now not going down without a fight. Top of the box, Massarola got behind it. Cameron had to keep it in play because the final touch was off one of his teammates. And all of a sudden, if you didn't know the context of this game, you would think that it was the Wanderers who were holding on and defending a lead with 10, because Mount Druitt are really going for it at the moment. Rankin. Before we turn our eye towards Josh Kermans, see how much time will be added on. The foot race on. A whack, going for it. Going a bit too hard through the back of Nathan Barry, who has been a warrior tonight alongside Ricky Franson. It's such a good defensive partnership when they stay on the park. You can see the quality that Nathan Barry has got at his disposal. It makes sense why he has, albeit not this season, made 2 A-League appearances in the past. Debuted in March of last year under Marco Rudan. Tef. A loose touch. Taken off his toes by Battleazzo. Hollingdale. And Wanderers not trying to force the issue as we enter in to stoppage time, of which there are 4 minutes. Abdul Rahman, no foul. He came steaming in. Niski comes off his line and collects in advance of Nizam. Oh, and play is stopped, much to the disappointment of the Mount Druitt bench. Apologies for the language expressing that disappointment. Well, that Abdul Rahman, who went in at a rate of knots to try and win that ball back. Ended up coming off worse for wear. I don't think Andy Montgomery is quite believing the scenes that are unfolding in front of him. You would imagine that Adrian Arndt, having stopped play of his own volition, will add time on. It's time in which Ishi Cardozo is going to clear the decks on his bench. Lockie Tilt coming on. We're also going to, as a result of that clearing of outfielders, going to see a first grade debut for young Oscar Morrison. He's been a member of the Western Sydney Academy since 2020. Blacktown Spartans Junior before that. 14 appearances and 4 goals for the under-20s this season. And his subs will have to wait for a moment longer. Forward it goes from Niski again. Hazard. Now we'll get those subs. Abdul Rahman, who was that player down on the turf, who remains off the field receiving treatment as things currently stand. He's one of the two coming off. Riley Hollingdale the other. And so after a good few minutes of waits, it is a welcome to NPL New South Wales for young Oscar Morrison. As the ball is launched in, the cross can't be fashioned, but a corner is won by Mount Druitt. In the final minute of the 4 added on by Josh Kermond. You would imagine there will be stoppage time on stoppage time, as our deliveries have been good. What can he fashion this time? Big up and under. Svilgoy was there. It's cleared towards goal. Headed back in that direction. It's a really messy sequence from which the Wanderers can eventually repel. Rankin. Niski. Doesn't stay alive for John Azar. The Wanderers continuing their dance with the devil. Headed towards the goal line by Gibbs, and eventually the Wanderers were able to clear. But a more telling header from either Gibbs or Svilagoy, that could have been a very different situation. Awak. Everything has to go right for Mount Druitt now. Battleazzo rode that challenge nicely. Nizam sets a task for Nkomo, but Niski was agile. Awak collected. Play allowed to continue as Massarola is upended. And Dylan Niski is going to march up to take this free kick. Kitchen sink territory for Mount Druitt. An equalising goal in its full context would go down a treat at Popondetta. Niski forward and out of play. And the Wanderers may just be home. Tristan Vidakovic will launch this one as far as he can get it to go. Although out of play, not ideal. Tef. Glancing header. Will Mount Druitt get one more chance? Azar. Lots of numbers forward. If he can find them, and he does find one, it was a whack, and then the shot from range. Turned away. And it may only be the first game of the second half of the season, but that feels like a massive win for Western Sydney Wanderers. A comeback victory that hands them 3 points in a massive match at the foot of the NPL New South Wales table and buys them a bit of breathing room. Between the Mariners and the Mount Druitt side, they have just vanquished. They had a man advantage for 45 minutes, but a goal deficit to work against after an incident-fueled final 5 minutes of the first half. Saw young Lachlan Vasiliou open the scoring with his first senior goal, only to have the shine taken off it by a red card for Pedrinho, which put the Wanderers odds on to work their way back into the contest, and they got the work done quickly, in truth. Awan Lawal found an equalising goal within the first 9 minutes of the second half. And then Edmund Haddad, who was one of the Wanderers' best, got a goal that his play deserved. It wasn't all done from there, though. Mount Druitt, they did not die wondering in this game. They had a shot from Garang Awak come off the post that could have made this very differently. They fought till the very end. But an important battle at the bottom end of the table goes the way of the Western Sydney Wanderers, who for the first time in season 2025 go 3 games unbeaten. And a very important 3 points. We'll be heading back to Wonderland to end Saturday night as we sign off from Popondetta Park. The full-time score, Mount Druitt Town 1, Western Sydney Wanderers 2.